a little girl growing up in my mom's Elvis souvenir shop, Memories of Elvis, and it was across the street from Graceland. And I didn't know that there was any other music other than Elvis. And just started singing that at a young age, and just grew to love his music, and just performing it now as I've gotten older.
My mum and dad raised me with the music. When I was 8 years old, I think I watched Love Me Tender.
The music, the sound, the rock, wild, just a lot of enjoyment. And then when he went into gospel and his other songs, it just all blended in together.
Well, it's a long story. I'll try to shorten it for this. Growing up, there was a guy that was around my house a lot, and I knew him by the name Orion. His name was Jimmy Ellis, and there's a huge backstory on Orion as far as, you know, his history, where he come from, and a lot of secrets and lots of things about folks thinking he used to be Elvis, or he was Elvis's brother that no one ever knew about, and some of those things are actually not disproven. But my dad was his booking agent when I grew up as a kid, so it was pretty common for me to have Orion, as we knew him, come by the house and sit down and talk about his next shows or his next tour or whatever was going on, and he'd be sitting at the table talking to my dad. And he was part of Sun Records, and Orion, of course, was this Elvis guy. So my first introduction to Elvis was actually Orion. I knew about Orion before I knew about Elvis. So growing up, it was kind of, Orion introduced me into Elvis. It was kind of just a weird thing. So, and it came full circle. Before Orion was, before he was killed in '98, I believe, kind of came full circle, and Orion asked me to come to his home down in Selma, Alabama, and perform an Elvis show at his New Year's Eve party. So it was kind of came full circle. It was pretty cool, but that is exactly what got me into Elvis Presley.
Those pelvic thrusts and those moves, oh yeah. And his Elvis tribute artists too, they're pretty hot.
I don't know. Whenever I was a baby, my mom and my dad would work different shifts. And if my mom wasn't around, I would be screaming, and he'd pop Elvis into the tape player, and he'd walk and pat and sing, and that would get me to calm down and go to sleep.
Oh, this is my first time. Linda's been here before.
Not to Memphis though, so this is my first time to Memphis, and it's just absolutely fabulous, amazing. Definitely going to have to come back next year.
It's beautiful, beautiful country.
Yeah.
Beautiful country.
I think being young and listening to Elvis, you can't really put a finger on it, but I think his movies, and then later on the timbre in his voice, I think and the vibrato.
I had to be probably 3-4 years old. I used to close myself in the bedroom and just listen to his music. He just made me feel great, made me feel loved and warm, and the energy this man put out was unbelievable. When I used to look at him, I used to see my dad, because my dad had the same sideburns and had that same lip, but they're nowhere related, but that's how I felt.
Burning Love, I just thought it was the coolest thing, you know. And then when I went to high school, the music that was in at that time was Led Zeppelin, Grand Funk Railroad, the Beatles, you know, stuff like that. But when I heard Burning Love, I just thought it was the coolest thing, and I became a fan instantly.
Well, my dad lived it. He saw Elvis in the younger years at the Cow Palace in Oklahoma City, and of course I didn't even know who he was until my dad showed me a picture of him, and then bought me my first movie, which was a documentary called Elvis on Tour. And I watched that, and I thought, well, let's go for it. Let's see. And sure enough, when I was 12 years old, I started studying the moves, the voice, everything, and then I didn't do anything professional until the 14th, and all of a sudden here I am today.
His looks, his coolness, just, you know, him as the ultimate Mr. Cool, and then as I got older, I began to understand more. It was about him and his voice, and that's what really put it all together.
The first thing was the voice. I remember hearing him on the radio. We lived in Columbus, Georgia at the time, and I heard In the Ghetto on the radio, and about the time Kentucky Rain came out and so forth, those songs. Something about, I don't know what it was, and at that age, what drew me to it, I can't really say, but something kind of, you know, clicked, and been a fan ever since.
I was 8 years old, just heard him come on the radio one day and asked my dad who was that singing, and at that point, he knew. You know, he said, "It's Elvis." Presley, and so we just came through Memphis on the way to Alabama when I heard that. And I went home and I cut out a garbage bag and put a bunch of stars and stuff on it and taped it to my waist at 8 years old and was dancing on sidewalks.
Elvis fan when I was a little boy. I was 5 years old and I saw a replay of the '68 comeback special on TV, and I was pretty mesmerized. And that's when I was like, man, I want to be like him when I grow up.
You know, I kind of grew up listening to country music and stuff like that, and listening to Elvis during Christmas. And other than that, man, I went and saw a tribute artist named Bill Castile back when I was 12 years old, and the Elvis show just blew me away. You know, I said, man, that is cool, and I want to do that, and it's kind of how I got started.
Ever since I was in the basement, I found my mom's Elvis records and put them on and started listening to them. Instantly a fan.
Really, it was my aunt that got me started. We used to listen to Elvis music in car rides and stuff like that when I was about 7 years old, and it basically took off from there. I got a call after another call saying that I did Elvis, and that's how I got started.
Well, back in '91, my parents brought us all up here, the family, on vacation, and somehow it just stuck with me. It's hard to explain. It just got stuck.
Well, I grew up listening to Elvis. First song I ever heard was In the Ghetto. The song told me a story. I've been loving Elvis ever since.
I've been an Elvis fan for all my life, and I'm an old guy, so I was alive when he was alive, and watching this stuff and seeing him, and never got to see him in concert, which is, bad, for me, because I've always wanted to, but always been an Elvis fan all my life. So.
What is it about Elvis that drew you to him?
Well, the whole ball of wax, the whole package himself. I mean, he's not just a singer and a performer, but the heart, the soul, the feel. He wants to give to the world, share his talent with the world, give to the world. He's about as pure as they come. So that's what drew me to Elvis.
I actually became an Elvis fan because of my poppy, and he was a really big Elvis fan. And growing up, I remember he had a black velvet Elvis hanging on the wall, and always playing Elvis music and everything else, and I just fell in love with it then.
I'm an Elvis fan since I'm 15 years old, so it's a long, long time ago. 18 years old. 18 years ago, yeah.
The original story started when I was an 8-year-old Cub Scout. I used to perform at talent shows, and I portrayed Elvis and won 3 in a row at talent shows. And then in 1969, I had my grandmother at the International Hotel in a wheelchair for Elvis's first concert at the International Hotel. And from that point on, I just fell in love with Elvis.